So welcome to TCher Online Parent Workshop. We're very happy to have you here with us. And if you're new to TCher comes from the word teacher. It's a Singapore slang, like a Singlish, to call a teacher that you respect and you like. Usually, quite close with this particular teacher. You go, hey, teacher, please, I'm late for school. Can you not punish me? Or I have not handed in my homework? Or can you please help me? Okay, so we started TCher, right, to want to have a wonderful relationship with the students and with your children. So TCher here, TCher there, TCher Andrew, TCher Jovan, TCher Shavin. Okay, so this is what we have gone through almost the whole day. And just want to thank you parents for your trust and support, those who are with us, those who have been with us for 1 week, 1 month, or 6 months since you started. I think really thank you that you trust TCher and you entrust your children into our hands so that we can educate and help to prepare them for exams. And also many special thanks. We have a TCher Parent Advisory Group. I think about 12, 13 of parents who are in this advisory group, meaning that they really lend support, give us feedback whenever we have new programs, and many other encouraging contribution. So if you're a TCher parent already with us and you'd like to join, you can always, we'll invite you, but at the same time, because there are so many of you, we will not be able to go and ask every single one of you, but it's a highly welcome for you to join this group. It's a parent support group in schools. Okay, Mrs. Yeo is an ex-primary school principal, myself, an ex-vice principal. So we know what is a parent support group. Okay, so this is something like that. So thank you so much for the TCher Parent Advisory Group. So I'm Andrew. I started TCher Online, and I was an ex-VP, as I just mentioned, in a secondary school, and hoping and aiming and growing this company so that we can bless and offer the most, if not one of the most credible tuition business enrichment. We are more of an educator than businessman, because this is our background, it's our DNA. It's our DNA to make it good, make it a solid teaching curriculum and experience for your children and as parents. Okay, so many parents are very worried about this. We're not going in depth because this has been briefed at school. I'm very, very certain it's in social media, but I understand that this is something stressing a lot of parents, especially if your children are taking PSLE next year or the year after, right? The intent is really to make it, in a sense, less competitive, but I understand from the ground that many parents are very anxious. In fact, sometimes more competitive because everybody is trying to aim for 4 points, right, at achievement level. And the band above from the AL1, AL2, 3 are very small, but at the bottom is fairly large. So there has been a lot of issues, feedback to MOE. We're not going to talk about that, but at the end of the day, it's really to prepare them early, consistently adding value and learning and improving, and not being last minute. Okay, so we want them to also achieve their best and not force them to do it, but at the same time develop a love and interest for the subject. And so this is what at TCher we do. So why TCher Online? How can we help? Our very experienced teaching and curriculum team, one of the most experienced, I would say, and we can assure you that the lessons will be of very high quality, one of the highest quality in the Singapore market. Very excellent, highly qualified teachers in terms of curriculum and teaching. These two are together. So we build TCher to do good and to help students to improve, and constantly giving and changing to help your child prepare for exams. Okay, so it's amazing value to be online, and we are not a on-site tuition center trying to do online, but we started purely online. So you realize that our online lessons are definitely very different from an on-site center trying to do online using Zoom and going through just worksheets during our lessons. We are built differently. We only have one small office in Joo-Chiat Place. You cannot have even 10, 20 students inside because we all work from home. And we build our classroom and lessons around online learning, around online pedagogy, online instructional strategy, okay, to help children learn at home. So you save traveling time, save waiting time, go to the tuition center, you wait for your turn, and you get in, the class have to settle in, maybe probably quite noisy. And then at the same time, parent cannot get into the tuition center to sit beside your child every week because there's lack of space. And so here at TCher Online, you are able to view the lessons almost every week, every other day. It's recorded. It's open source. We allow you to grade our teachers, to look whether our lessons and teaching and curriculum is good or not. And you can support your child. You can monitor his or her learning. You can screen the classrooms. We have nothing to hide. In fact, we want to show off how good our lessons are. And you get updated and educated as a parent, and definitely it's COVID-free. Okay, so for students and parents who are new to us, we have 1 hour of live stream lessons, very good teaching. And recently in October, we gave a free lessons, additional tutorial. So 1 hour of lecture, good teaching, 1 hour of tutorial to 1 hour, 15 minutes to get feedback, and it's more for learning. Okay, so we have pre-lesson tasks that goes beyond the syllabus to make the subject interesting. And we take many, many hours to prepare for 1 hour of lessons, 8 to 10 or even more hours to prepare the lessons, because we are so particular about what we teach, what the selection of the content. Every lesson is recorded for viewing, to learn and to relearn. And this is super powerful. Even if you get a top M1 teacher like from TCher team, to go to your house once a week, 2 hours, it's not recorded. I don't think they will allow you to sit beside the teacher and child for 2 hours. Even in a very established tuition center, the lessons I don't think many are not recorded on site, for you to view. So you constantly need help. Then what are you going to do, So at TCher Online, we believe in principle of flipped learning. You can learn and relearn and learn many times over with the video recording. And all the video recording, we also send to our team for editing. So that will multiply learning a lot. Okay, we have practice papers and worksheets for students to sign up for a tutorial. So after lecture, the teaching, we will send you the tutorial worksheets. 1-2 days later, you attend our tutorial lessons. At the tutorial, there will be feedback. Every student is given a chance to speak, to talk. The papers are being done by your kids, clarify the questions, upload into the app, send back to the teacher to mark, and then we upload it back. Parents print it out, file it, so that your kids can have notes and worksheets to revise. Okay, so high student engagement and learning, parent summary every end of tutorial. At the end of every tutorial, the teacher will, students, can I see your parents? Then the students will turn and say, Mommy, Daddy, the teacher wants to see you. Okay, so we will speak to you, the teacher, like what has happened for the day, what's going to happen next week, and also how you as a parent can help your child. So as long as you as a parent get involved, we would love to hear from you. Okay, we also provide one-to-one coaching after the tutorial. We also want to reach out to you for you to ask questions. So we have a help desk at math@tcher.com, english@tcher.com, science@tcher.com. So if you have homework issues, you can always email us. But of course, within reasonable time, we cannot answer you 24 hours a day or within 30 minutes, right? So we will try our very best within working hours to answer and reply you. And we do have parents who are taking advantage of this. Okay, so we have meet parents at the end of the tutorial, as I mentioned. You can also cross-learn and cross the levels. This year, we have several students, primary 6, attending P5 lessons because they need to catch up, all right? Quite weak in the subject. So the way to go is attend P5, P6 lessons together. We also have P5 students this year attending P4 lessons. Do we have P5 student this year attending P6 lesson? The answer is yes. He or she wants to go faster. I don't know. Maybe the P5 topics is like he's already at that level. In fact, we have students at P6 attending P4, 5, and 6 science lesson at the same time to catch up. Because at P6, when we got this student, I think in April or May, the science subject is really, really very weak. And we know P6 is a totality or a sum of the topics from P4, 5, and 6. So these parents sign the students up for P4, 5, and 6 science lessons because they're all different topics, right? The diversity, energy, forces, and all that. So concurrently, all right? So this is what we can do. And next year, we're going to have monthly lessons and workshop on peak performance, myself and my friends and guest speakers, how to set goals, how to achieve goals, which I'll talk a little bit later after Mrs. Yeo's session. So this is what you have gotten from our customer service if you are our TCher parent. We are making it so affordable because, as I mentioned, our parents do understand we are doing business, so we need to survive and thrive. But yet, at the same time, at the heart and core of TCher DNA is education. We are educators at heart, not out here to, like make money, and like sometimes some certain centers very, very costly. Right? So you can attend the lecture, which is $10 with tutorial. With discount, it's just $8 one lesson. It's just amazing. Very, very high quality lecture teaching, right? By top ex MOE teachers. And then we have an add-on, which is the lecture and the tutorial. 2 hours worth is $40 per week. So 1 month is $160, right? You have 2 hours worth of lessons, 2 hours plus the lessons are recorded, plus you got help desk, plus a lot of things. Okay, so it's not separate. You get it together, and with discount it's only $32, meaning that 1 month is only $128 for 4 weeks of lessons, 2 hours each, with all the recordings and all the help. The guarantee program is added for one-to-one. So if you have any interest, you can always call staff. Okay, I think about 12 minutes to introduce TCher to especially parents who are here for the very first time. Gonna introduce Jenny right now. So Mrs. Jenny Yeo is a veteran educator. I'm reading somewhat. Very well-known, respected ex-principal. If I can remember, Mrs. Yeo is 40 years in MOE. They're about 35 years.
40 plus, yeah.
Oh, 40 plus.
Yeah.
Okay, so a true blue educator, definitely my mentor, my senior, my coach. I'm so happy that she is now with TCher, and she endorsed our program. If not, she wouldn't be joining us. She's our consultant. She's also part of our board of advisor. So I'm so happy to have a veteran and experienced ex-principal from King Cheng, Radin Mas, Southview Primary IT Demonstration School for Radin Mas. And Southview Primary was awarded the SQC, Singapore Quality Class. It's really hard to get an award, and practices for teaching and learning. So teaching and learning is really the core to MOE, and she's able to produce and get the school to achieve the award. And upon retirement, she was posted to MOE, was a lead associate to promote partnership with parents. And then she left MOE to head the international school in Bangkok. And thereafter, it was an academic consultant with Thai Singapore International School. She's just back from overseas, and I invited her, and she gladly accepted to be our consultant in the board. Jenny, all yours. They're all waiting to hear you speak about this topic, how to motivate your child to excel in his or her studies.
Right. Good afternoon, parents, and I notice there are some students. Thank you for choosing to spend your afternoon with TCher Online to learn some tips on how to motivate your child to excel in his or her studies. Let me say a little bit more about myself. I've been in education for 42 or 46 years, including the time I spent in Bangkok, international schools. And it has always been very gratifying and satisfying to be an educator. And along this journey, I really treasure my time spent with parents, teachers, and students. In fact, recently, some of my students they are now my Facebook friends, and they are now grown up. Some of them married with babies or so. And I just received a little note to remind me that when this child was in primary 5, he wrote me this when I was retiring to go to the MOE HQ. And I just read a snippet for you. He wrote so well, he said, "I will always remember you as a principal who is strict but loving, yet loving, demands discipline, yet nurturing, and fun, yet serious." And he went on to thank me for making learning fun in school. Right, so this is something that I'm really touched that students really appreciate principals also. Right. So I have many experiences to share with you. how to help children with problems, how to motivate them to learn, even how to get them out of addiction to games. Many things, I think parents face, and I understand because I'm not only a mother, I'm also a grandmother of 4 grandkids. Right. And as Andrew has said, I joined TCher because I saw that TCher is really a good platform for learning. I actually got my grandson and grandniece to subscribe to it, and both parents actually they were very happy with it. They found the lessons interesting, the teachers are competent, and they said that actually it's a good platform for the children to learn. So I hope more of you will encourage your relatives and friends to join TCher Online too. Okay, now back to our topic. All right, how to motivate your child to excel in his or her studies. Let me first of all define what excel means. What does excel mean to you? Uh, does it mean you will have to score full marks? You will have a score of band 1, A star, or a distinction? What is your definition of excelling? Right? To me, I feel that if a child improves in his or her achievements, your child has already excelled. As a principal, I have always experienced counseling children who are actually stressed out because the parents expect them to excel and set very unrealistic goals. For example, when I was teaching this class as a teacher, this boy scored 98 upon 100 for his Chinese, but he was crying. So I went to him and I said, "Why are you crying? You did very well." But this boy said, "No, my mommy said I must get 100 upon 100. It's so heartbreaking. I have to counsel him, call up the mother to counsel the mother too. All right, so does excelling means that your child must get full marks? I think as parents, we got to rethink our expectations, right? And another case was this boy who scored 83 out of 100 for maths. He missed the school bus. He actually purposely missed the school bus and he refused to go home. Why? He told me because the mother expects him to score band 1, at least 85 and above. And what did he get? He got 83 out of 100. And he was afraid. He didn't want to go home. I had to call the mother, father, persuade them to come down to pick him up. And also, I had to counsel them. So sometimes I'm worried when I see the word excel. Do children really have to excel? And what does excel mean? Is it scoring full marks, 100%? We just have to be very cautious as parents. But I always understand that parents actually have good intentions. All of us parents want our children to do well, and we want to set high expectations so that they will do well. But at the same time, we have to be cautious. We have to learn to know our children and their capabilities and support them, help them along. Okay, so much for that. So, how do you encourage your child to be motivated? First of all, let me emphasize that encouraging your child to find motivation in learning in a positive way is important for building habits that last. Forcing your child to study make him or her resent study time. Right? So we have to be very cautious and careful. Tip number 1. Why is your child not motivated to study? The first thing you need to find out is why. Find out what's stopping your child from being motivated to study. You find out the reasons for the lack of motivation because it's important to find the root of the problem and so that you can help the child develop a plan to overcome the barriers so that your child can be motivated to want to learn and excel. Right, some reasons for lack of motivation is this: poor understanding of the materials, content of lessons, work that isn't challenging enough, work that isn't suited to his or her learning style, anxiety about school, and low self-esteem. I won't go into details for everyone, but I would just want to say what is meant by work that isn't challenging enough. For example, if your child is a kindergarten child and you already taught the child how to count from 1 to 100, and he goes to class and teacher is teaching all the students how to count from 1 to 10. So work is not challenging enough for this child. He finds the class boring. He will not be motivated to want to do well and study in class. So that's part of the reason. Okay, tip number 2. It's easy. Make study time easier. How do you do it? Right. Firstly, you need to create a quiet space in your home for your child to study. Find a quiet, distraction-free space. Don't put the desk facing the TV in the hall, because when other members of the family watch TV, your child will be distracted. So that's not really good, right? And also bear in mind, if your child is hungry or thirsty, it's hard for your child to concentrate. So you need to provide food and drink if your child is hungry or thirsty. And also ensure that your child gets his tools when he's doing his homework or studying. For example, pen, pencils, eraser, calculator. Tip number 3. Do you create a study plan with your child? Or you just let it free and easy for your child to decide when to study, what to study, especially when your child is very young. I think when they're very young, as an adult, we need to guide them, right? Your child will need structure to help them keep the study time fruitful, yeah? Okay, this one. Children do well with structure. Having a solid study plan in place will help your child on track. So, as a parent and adult, you try and work with the child on a schedule on when the homework should be completed each night, and your plan should include when homework is to be done each day, how much time should be spent on homework, how often to take breaks, and how long, and what tasks should be prioritized. That means assignments that are due soonest should be top of the list. Right. This is something I want to also remind parents that when we help our children to study, we need to focus on learning instead of performance. We need to help our children learn that grades do not define them. We love them unconditionally. Many a times, I have children crying and telling me that the parents don't love them, and I ask them why. Say, because when I don't pass, my parents won't love me anymore. My parents will give me a big scolding, and I don't think they love me because I didn't do well. So this is something I would like to remind all parents. Please show your child unconditional love, regardless of score and marks. We have to show them that we love them as they are, and we just there for them to support them in their learning. Right? So instead of focusing primarily on grades, celebrate milestones related to learning, both big and small. I think that is something that we must learn as parents to focus on. Maybe here I would like to share a story of this boy. Let's name him Roland. Roland was a troubled boy. He was in primary 3 when I took over the class from a relief teacher. And he was running around, he was not studying. And I noticed this boy actually is good in English. He passed his English and science. He only failed maths badly, 35 upon 100. His Chinese also 15 out of 100. And he always made a nuisance of himself. He would put out his legs so that his friend would trip over and fall, and he would just laugh at them. So he was a difficult child, but I managed to win over him, and I talked to him, and I challenged him to improve in his grades. He said, "Teacher, I cannot pass." I said, "No, Roland, I'm sure you can. You're a bright boy. You see, you do well for your English, and you can pass your science. I'm sure you can do better for your maths and for your Chinese." So Roland, because he liked me, I think, he decided to work hard for the teacher. So he worked hard. And guess what happened? At the end of the year, he scored 72 marks for his maths. He passed. But for his Chinese, he's got 35 upon 100. Compared to 15 upon 100, he's got 35. So do I scold him? No. I said, well done. You did so well, From 15, you scored 30. That's a great improvement. So what I did was to buy him presents for doing well. And Roland was so motivated after that. When he went up to primary 6, he passed all his subjects and he went to a secondary school. So you see, for Roland, we can learn that we must set milestone, the big or small. All right, we must help the child to cope with what he can achieve. Right. Number 5, encourage your child to set small goals. That's what I said about Roland. Roland is a typical example of someone who is able to set small goals and achieve. Encourage your child to set small goals. Do you encourage them? Because not every child is academically inclined, and not every child can improve by leaps and bounds. So we need to pace according to the capability of your child. You need to know your child. Okay, for example, you say, okay, as long as you maintain the grades, that's good enough. If the child has got some learning disabilities, right? You set realistic and achievable grades. Like for Roland, I say at least you try to improve. All right, try to pass. Or if you can't, you can always improve. By scoring a higher grade. Right. Let your child achieve little successes. I think this is important. Many times when your child doesn't do well, your child will feel very discouraged and also will lose his self-esteem. So you need to help them achieve little successes. I remembered when I was teaching a primary 1 class. I was on maternity leave, and when I returned from maternity leave, I noticed that this girl always scored 0 for spelling. So I pulled her to my table and I said, Joaquin, can you spell this word? And she just couldn't. And I noticed that actually there were too many words and it's difficult for Joaquin. Joaquin was struggling to learn 10 words per week. So what did I do? I said, okay, why not for next week you just learn 2 words. And I gave her 2 words to learn. And guess what? She scored 2 words correctly. And I said 2 upon 2, star. I gave her a star. And my colleague was next to me saying, she actually learned 2 words out of the 10 words. How can you give her a star? I said, no. For her, that's a great achievement already.
Nice.
So I said, I will give her a star. A big one though. And after that, the following week, I said, how about increasing to 3 words? 4 words. And then as the weeks go by, she was scoring like 7 upon 7. Then finally, towards the last term, Joaquin was scoring 10 over 10. I was so proud of her, So this is something that we all have to bear in mind. If the child is struggling, break down the goals, small little goals, and help the child experience success and be encouraged to do better. And that also built up her confidence, So we have to help our children find their self-esteem and believe in themselves that if they work hard, they actually can achieve. So for children who are struggling, we need to address this. Right, 6, we must create a reward system. Some people ask me whether this is bribing. I don't think so. I think we need to encourage our children, to work hard and look forward to something good when they work hard. I mean, it can be something very simple like, okay, if you achieve your goal, you will be able to play your mobile game for 1 hour. Or you can collect points and then these points will enable you to buy your maybe a bicycle towards the end of the year, or a pet, I don't know, or maybe I'll take you out for your favorite ice cream, right? So things like that will encourage the child. The child will say, oh, if I do well, at least, mommy and daddy appreciates it and would do something for me. I think that is good thing to do. I find that as a principal, when I praise the children, another way is to just praise them. If I just say, children, I'm very proud of all of you today because when I walk around the school is really speak and span. That means all of you do not litter and you pick up litter in exam. I'm so proud of you. Let's see how many days we can keep this going. And guess what? The children are so encouraged that they do it every day, and I learned as a principal that actually praise is better than scolding, right? When you praise the child will be so encouraged to do better, right? So reward system, praising them when they've done well is important, especially when it's they are near you and you just say, oh, my child has done very well this term. He has worked hard, and this is how he has achieved his results. So when the child hears it, the child is encouraged. So all of us need encouragement, even adults, right? Reward system, you can read this for yourself. All right. Next, 7. I'm only coming to the last one soon. 8 tips. This is something that all of us usually overlook, right? Limit stress. Do you know children can be stressed? We have to take note of this. I've heard of a case as a principal that during the PSLE, one child was so stressed that she actually tore up the paper and tried to eat it up. So because the child was very stressed, it actually happened, right? So we have to look out and check whether our child is stressed or not. Because if he's stressed, you'll find it difficult to concentrate and be motivated to learn, right? So what do you need to do? You need to spend time with the child. Spend time with him or her, talk about thoughts and feelings. Do you do that? If you were to ask me if I will do it all over again, what would I do? As a mother, I have 3 children, I would tell you that I would want to spend one-to-one alone time with each child. Many a time we just say, okay, let's go out. The whole family would just go, right? But the child doesn't get individual attention. The child cannot sense that he or she is important, right? So I will encourage you to spend time alone with each child when you have the time. You don't have to do something special. Even like going down to the NTUC to buy eggs, you just bring one child along. Come with me, help me carry. And along the way, talk to the child, find out about how he feels about things, what's happening in school. Spend one-to-one time alone with the child so that you can help your child overcome any stress or problems that he might face in schools, right? Going for a walk with them, exercise will improve the overall well-being and reduce stress. And listening to music, even in the car, you can play the music that they like to listen to, right? They have their favorites, children, right? And you can also, for young children, to calm them down, probably you can have coloring of pictures that they like. That would also be an example that you can learn to eradicate stress. Yeah. Okay, last one. All right. Finally, provide support for your child. How? Be there for them. Sit with them when they have to study, right? I think this is very important. Make arrangement to talk to your child's teacher. I'm sure you have meet the parent session in schools, so why not find out from a teacher what kind of support you could give to your child to help the child improve. Discuss with the teachers so that you can help the child and give the child the support that he or she needs. Right? Also get your child some extra help. Some people ask whether is it really necessary to have tuition. I know MOE doesn't recommend tuition, right? But many of us, feel that there are children who need tuition. And if you are able to teach your child at home, you can do the teaching yourself. But many parents can't, especially when they say, what is this model method? I will teach them, let X be the unknown number. And the poor child is lost, right? So they will get somebody to help the child. Is it necessary? I think yes, if the child is very weak and need extra help, why not? Or when you think the child could do better, is not maximizing his potential, why not? Right? So at this point of time, I think you can depend on TCher too. TCher is very good in supporting your child. I find that I find that it's really good in the sense that the teachers there are very good. I've seen them. I've gone into observe their lessons, and they're very good and experienced teachers. Not every center has this kind of teachers at hand. So them a bit of extra help will boost their confidence and also build their self-esteem. So I encourage you to do that. Then you may ask me the question. You're talking about children who are not performing well, and you break down goals to small achievable goals. How my son, who is so intelligent and so gifted, how do I actually motivate him to do his best, and maybe really excel and score maybe A star or band one. I will tell you this. Not all children can do that well, but there is a percentage. I want to share with you an example of twins in Radimas Primary School when I was a principal there. But they are very special kids, and they are boys, interesting. Normally the girls are the hardworking and very motivated ones. But this pair of twins is very, very unusual. In primary four, when I talk to them, they already have dreams. They dream that one day
Nice.
they will become doctors, and they talk to me about it, and they say, no, one day we want to be doctors. So I say, okay. So what do you think you need to do now to prepare yourself to be a doctor? Study hard, do well. I say, good. So you must be willing to work hard. And they were so motivated. Guess what? At the end of the 6 years in the school, they topped the PSLE not in the school, and also I think top 10 in Singapore. I think they scored aggregate score like 286, 283. Both of them very good. They got all A stars for all the subjects, and they are very motivated. And when they went to O levels, you know what happened? They also topped O level nationally. It was in the papers. And when they finally went to A levels, guess what? They top again A levels. The twins. Very, very amazing. All right. So when your child is really highly motivated, then you must challenge them and say, okay, do your best. All right. Encourage them. Do your best. And I always tell these stories to all my students. If they can do it, you can do it. Just do your best. You may not be the top 10, but at least your very best.
Now I will do my second part sharing, and I hope that you also be able to fit. So I'm going to share my personal story. Perhaps it will help in some students. I would say that I was a very high achiever when I was really young. Go out to study hard, study well. I don't really have a very good primary school background, partly because of my family. My parents, they used to quarrel every day when I was in primary school. It was really terrible for me. And just a very quick one, my parents actually left, separated when I was in primary 6 and around secondary 1. But I've always worked myself all the way, have a lot of drive and to do well at school. And then finally in my NS, I think I really taught many of the course that I've gone through in the commando. I was a commando officer, and I jumped from C-130, parachute down, or perhaps some of the fathers here are also in the commando. He could be ex-commando officers. And then all the way, because I topped all the course, I was selected for the commando officer course. And after that, volunteered myself for the Singapore Ranger course. And alongside, I have to compete with naval divers and soldiers, full-time soldiers who are much senior than I in the Special Operation Force. And for that Ranger course, I topped the course as the number 1 in Singapore in the Singapore Ranger course. So there was a lot of drive in me to want to succeed and want to do well. And so move on. And this is some of my stories. I got married in a military parade. And my family, I also did well. I got married. I have 4 children. So for parents, you know that I have been there
Well done.
and done that. Sorry, somebody. Yeah, so I've been there and done that. My 3 children have gone through PSLE. My last one is Daniel, the one in the yellow shirt. This very cute boy. You see her drawing his face. So he's definitely with Cher Online.
So cute.
He's 25, and so you know that yeah, we are going to do everything that we can for your children. And so I have one more to go through the PSLE in the new grading system. Let's see. Okay, then move on. Okay, so I think the first thing I want to share with parents and children is, first thing is to establish and develop principles in your children. When I was young, I have a set of principles that I'm going to go all out to win or to succeed. So I think it's good for Rainer and other students or parents, sit down every now and then, you know, and using teachable moment at one at a time. My first principle is I will work hard. For Rainer, maybe I think it's a very good example. You're so brave to speak up, right? What is it that you want? Doesn't mean that you can do it, but actually what is your principle in life? So number one, I want to work hard. Number two, I want to be honest. Number three, you know, we are not perfect, right? No, unless you say nobody is perfect and I'm nobody, then it means that you're perfect. No one is perfect and no one is nobody. Okay, so, but at least you list down your principle and your rules for living. What is your value?
What is your value? Work hard.
We can hear you.
You can hear that.
I can hear you already. Don't worry, I've muted you already. No worries. Okay, so what is your core value? Sorry, I think this, I forgot to take my NIE slides. So these are, I teach in NIE, so I took some from my NIE slides. Okay, so what is your rule? What is your core value in life? Okay, parents, buy your child a book, a notebook of sort. It can be anything, it can be like that, you know, and then, you know, page by page, ask him to write something in there. What is his value that he lives by? Okay, now move on. This is a very good book for parents. If you can, you buy them. I read them inside out. A set of principles, but it's more his own journal. After he has written his 200 principles, he published the book. So actually, it's just a set of his own personal value. So I think as parents, you should have your own personal book of value and principles to live by, and then ask your children to do so. Let me go a bit faster. So this is a copy of his book. He says that the most important thing that he can give to us is really, what is your principles, what do you live by, and how you're going to achieve them. Now, the second thing I didn't add to the title is this thing about reflection. Okay, first thing is principles, develop principles for your children. Number two is reflection. It's very important to have reflection with your kid. So I think now the SA2 has just gone by, PSLE results are coming out for the P6s. Right, is to sit down and ask your child to do a reflection. There's a very simple theory by Botton on reflection. And it's amazing, so simple. What? Okay, so first, sit down with your child. What happened? Get your child to write them down. I passed my English, math, or science. Or I scored a distinction. Or I failed. It's just a fact. What happened? Then go to the next part of the reflection is, so what? So what? You know, so it's very nice language. So what? So what is going to the analysis part, the critical part. Why have I done well? Why have I not done well? Don't push your answers to your kids. Let them reflect. Okay? Let him write or let her write. Don't, you know, force yourself inside. You understand? Into your kids. Then now what? Now what are you going to do about it? Okay? So try to follow this step. It's a very simple exercise, but it's a lot of value. Okay, then the third one is focus on what is learning. First one is establish principles. Second one is reflect. And third one is focus on learning itself. What are you learning? Why are you learning? How are you learning? So at TCher, we do that. For the math, what are you learning? Why are you learning this? How can you apply? So I think it's very important to do this with children in other areas of work, in English, not just subject-based, but in any lessons that you want to teach your child. Think critically. Has my child learned? What has he learned? Why are you learning this? How are you learning? Where can you apply? Okay, so all these are infused in our TCher curriculum for the subject, but it can be applied at your end, you know, as you are teaching values, character, hard work, you know, to do that. How do you know whether your child has learned? These are the definition of learning. Learning is when there's a change in behavior and thinking. Suddenly, Rainer is like, I'm going to do it. I'm going to forgo my handphone. All games will be a second priority. I'm going to do it. There's a change and shift in thinking. There's a change in behavior. It's not just words. You see him day by day, writing, doing his work, 5 minutes, 10 minutes. Okay, then it can be intentional, unintentional. So parents, guardian, put your best foot forward, show a good example. You cannot be using phone 10 hours a day and tell your kids, don't use so many, don't use phone for so many hours. Children see, children do. More is caught than taught. Okay, so alongside with your child, demonstrate to him hard work, values. Okay, so let your child, number 3, determine what he or she wants to learn over time. Okay, not force into it. Okay, so learning has to be nurturing. So our teachers are here all very nurturing. As parents also, don't nag too much. Don't exasperate your children or frustrate them, but need to be firm. Don't frustrate. But the end is still nurturing, mentoring, guiding. Then your child can improve. But children, if you're here, it can be uncomfortable because something that you do not know, then now you want to learn. It is a challenge. It's also an S curve, meaning that you just improve part by part. It's not a J curve. J is like you want a miracle. You get a tutor and then you say, wow, J, like Nike, shoot up. No, it's actually gradual improvement. Okay, we need to make connection between knowledge, assimilation, and application. So at TCher Online, we do that. How to make it relevant for your kid and how to learn. Okay, so learning is about transferring your skills. It's about overcoming setback. There's so many things about learning. It's about wanting to learn more under motivation. It's about application of the skills and the technique. So a bit technical here. Okay, so journaling is something that we also encourage your child to do so. Okay, I'm going to cover all these just to share with you that at TCher, we do look into learning theories, how to actually help your child improve. Right, so behaviorism is a part where we use reward, like what Mr. Seo has mentioned. So constantly also use reward. Understand your child. Is your child motivated by praises? Is your child motivated by 1 hour more game time? Is your child motivated by maybe a small surprise, a gift, or is it a hug? So know the language of your child, how your child will be motivated in terms of reward. Some kind of punishment, like if you don't study, you don't hand in the homework, take away some of the time in the computer games, right? Every weekend he's supposed to play, but because he didn't do well. So it's part of the behaviorism. Then cognitivism is really to do his work and apply understanding to it. And at TCher, we will help you to do that. So which is why from lecture to tutorial, there is always a time where your child will be given the worksheet to exercise and make sure that he has some kind of understanding. And then later, when he goes to tutorial, we apply the theory of constructivism, meaning that people around him plus himself construct what is the answers, and then connect to the real world. That is connectivism.